Welcome back to the Unstuck movement. I am your host, Rob Z. This platform was created to find people who have incredible, true testimonies of breakthrough, for you to have proof in your own personal life that breakthrough is possible for you. Today, we have on the show the incredible Orrick Quick with us. Today, we're talking about resilience. We're talking mindset, adversity, motivation, overcoming the odds. And Orrick, I love to dive in right off the bat with a powerful question just to get the ball rolling. You hear the term a lot, having a chip on your shoulder, and that can be seen as a bad thing. But I'm curious for you, how has that chip on your shoulder fueled success in your life?
Oh man, that's a great question. Most of us do not understand that in order for you to see your promised land, you got to first conquer your problem land. In other words, there are things you have to conquer that gives you the right, or you earn the right to be successful. And so throughout my entire life, I've had to fight, I've had to scratch, crawl, to be just who I am in this world. And so a lot of people need to understand that, listen, all things work together for good. And when you understand that, it doesn't say all things are going to feel good, but it's still working for your good. And so when you begin to digest that and get that in your spirit, man, you begin to look at problems differently. You understand that on the other side of this problem is a promise, and you begin to face things head on. So you can't shy away from problems, because that's how you find what you were made to do.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you had told me this or somebody else told me this, but I was just making a video about this. Literally, the sticky note is over here because I was talking about this morning, and it's powerful because it's so true. Talking about problems in your life, they're projects. Instead of looking at like a money problem as a problem, look at it as a money project. This is something that is a project in my life. And also, making your mess your message. I talk about it all the time. It's what we have to do. It's turning those things that were meant for evil for good, taking the mess, turning that into a message. And I know that that's what you've done in your life. So I'm so excited to dive into that. I'm so excited to have you here, Orrick. You have the coolest name of anybody ever on the podcast. First of all, nobody has a cooler name than Orrick Quick. What an amazing name. That's the best. I had a guy on before. His name was Cliff Ravenscraft. That was a pretty cool name. But Orrick Quick blows it out of the water. So congratulations on that front.
Thank you.
Sure, man. And before we go any further, I just want to welcome people to the podcast. So the Unstuck movement, I created this because we all have setbacks. We all have walls we got to get over in our life. And I wanted to have this platform be an example that no matter what you're going through, you can find breakthrough. And I wanted these stories to be examples, true testimonies of, listen, it's possible for you to break those chains that have held you back personally and professionally. We're sponsored by the Connected Leaders Academy. Make sure you check out connectedleadersacademy.com. And if you're somebody who, is an expert at what you do, but you want to be that go-to authority in your space, you want to have a platform that creates a lasting impact on people's lives and also brings incredible connections to you in your life personally and professionally, I encourage you to launch your podcast, and I'd love to help you do that. You can join the wait list for our Pro Podcaster Academy at robzwentz.com. Today with us is Orrick Quick, a transformational speaker, TV personality, and resilience coach who turned personal tragedy into a mission to empower others. A winner of the Great American Speakoff and a former co-host of The Preachers, he inspires audiences worldwide to transform adversity into greatness. Right there in that intro, Orrick, you were talking about earning the right to be successful. What do you mean by that? How did you have to earn the right to be successful?
Oh man, well, it goes way back before I was even born, because I just believe that people have made sacrifices for us to be who we are today. And my mother was one of those individuals who made a serious sacrifice just for me to be born. When that doctor told my mom, hey, number one, you're diagnosed with lupus. And we all know what lupus does. It turns your immune system against itself, And so my mom is fighting lupus while she's pregnant. And so the doctor told her, listen, I understand you want to keep this baby, but you cannot keep this baby full term while you are carrying lupus, while you've been diagnosed with lupus. And I am so grateful that my mom had the courage, the tenacity, the temerity to just stand flat-footed and say, no, this is my baby, and I'm at least going to give him a chance. And so every time a person calls my name is a reminder of the struggles that I have to go through just so I can provide shade for others. My name literally means oak tree. And an oak tree, the whole purpose of an oak tree is to grow up strong just so you can bear the weight of others. And so that's what I've had to do throughout my entire life is I've had to learn how to walk over 3 times in my lifetime. I've had to walk through me and my family been through a house fire where it almost took our lives. All these different incidents, and my mother, my mom, man, she sacrificed her health for me to be alive. But then at the age of 15 years old, I lost my mom. My mom died in my arms at the age of 15 years old when it was nothing but us here at the home. My family, my dad and brothers and sisters were all away, and it was nothing but me and her. And I watched my mom take her last breath. How did I still fight through to graduate from high school, graduate from college, manage to get married, do all these amazing things when I had this background? And I'm telling you, it was the chip on my shoulder that pushed me to my destiny.
Wow. Incredible. It's interesting. There's always a path to where you end up at today, and you can't go backwards and see the path in reverse, right? I mean, when it's happening, you're like, I don't know where this is going, but it's going somewhere, right? When you look back, you're like, oh, okay, these things all kind of matched up, and now I can see that puzzle come together. Do you feel that earned the right to be successful? Like, you feel like all of those things put that chip on your shoulder, fueled you to be the man you are today. And how is your faith challenged at those points in time? I'm wondering on a personal level, because I know a lot of times when we go through really hard things, we can blame God for things, or we can draw ourselves closer to God during those times. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I have any idea what you went through in those moments, but at the same time, was your faith ever shaken on that path? How did you keep such a strong faith?
Oh man, was it shaken? My God. A lot of us, we say, I trust God, right? But the fact is, you don't know how to trust God until you get into something that forces you to trust God. And so all of us, life is a journey. And one of the things that I know about God loves to see things grow. He loves to see things transform and transition and go from here and go to there. And when you look back, you're like, man, how did I get here? And that's when you turn around and say, man, it's nothing but by the grace of God. And so that is the lifestyle that I've lived, is that when I look back, man, there's no possible way that I could really show someone, how did you get here or get here or get here? It is by the grace of God. But instead of taking a Kleenex into my storm, I took a notepad. And so when I was in that storm, I began to take notes. I began to understand, okay, Lord, okay, you brought me here to here because of this. And all these different principles that I learned along the way, this is what I want to share with the world. I want to help people understand, how do you fight through adversity? How do you push forward when your mom passes away, when your dad passes away, when your child passes away, when you've lost that job that you thought you were going to have, for at least 40 years or 20 years, whatever? How do you deal with adversity in your life? And the acronym for CHIP is converting hell into profit. But before you can convert hell into profit, you got to be able to convert hell into purpose. Because when you understand your purpose, profit will always show up.
Yeah. And that goes back to the whole make your mess your message. And you know, I've really been sitting on this one for a few weeks now, because it's really very true. As you're dealing with what you're going through, that purpose, as the purpose becomes more clear, the fear starts to go away, right? But when you don't have a clear purpose, when you're not super clear on your vision, the fear is bigger than the vision. The fear is bigger than the purpose is. But as you spend time getting more clear on what that vision is, that the fear, it shrinks. It doesn't have the power it used to have over you. How did you start to build that super clear vision along with God to get the fear out of the way? And I know fear still comes up, right? We all experience that, but I know when you have such a clear purpose that I can tell that you have, that fear is becomes smaller and smaller. What has that path been like for you?
Yeah. So one of the hurdles that I had to overcome was fear of dying early, all these different fears. And so the question is, how do you overcome all these fears? Well, you go to the one who will help you conquer all these fears. So what did I do? I started getting up at 4:00 in the morning. 4:00 is right in the middle of something we call the fourth watch. The fourth watch is from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. This is literally the place where miracles flow. Like, if you want to get up and you want to get instructions for your day, direction for your day, whatever it is, man, get up during this time. I guarantee you. So when I started getting up early, God started helping me to deal with my fears. Like, let's deal with this. Let's deal with that fear. And once you get over those fears, you will be amazed as to how much of the things that you're able to tackle, able to overcome once you overcome those fears. Fear is like a paralyzer, man. It's designed to keep you stuck in life until you die. So you got to make it up in your mind that in order for you to enter into your promised land, you got to conquer your problem land. You got to.
Well, you know, I get up at 6 a.m. So now you got me convinced I'm not getting up early enough. I thought I was getting up early enough. So I got to get up between 3 and 6. Where does this fourth watch come from? Where I've never heard that before. Where, I mean, I've heard, you know, 3 a.m. is the witching hour. I've heard people say that sort of stuff, right? But I've never heard this fourth watch concept. Where do you pull that from? What does that mean?
All right. So we all remember the story when Jesus came walking on water towards the disciples. And in scripture, it literally says it was during the fourth watch of the night. And when I start doing more research, there were other events that happened during the fourth watch of the night. Jacob wrestled with the angel during the fourth watch of the night. The Israelites came walking through the Red Sea on dry land during the fourth watch of the night. So all of these different events all happened during this exact time frame to show us, listen, there's something. Even Abraham said, Lord, I will get up early. I will seek your face early. And so when you do that, man, something miraculously happens where God, and this is the thing. So God, what people don't understand, we keep, God, do something about my situation. God, do something about my situation. And God is like, no, that's why I put you there. I gave you dominion over this entire earth. In other words, God is the coach. We are the players. What God is going to do, he's going to give you the best strategy to run, the best play to run. Now, it is now our job to get in the game and run that play. The coach is not going to get in the game and run a play for you. His job is to give you the best strategy of how to win. So when you get up early in the morning, trust me, this is, oh God, man, this is how I've gotten my house free and clear. This is how I've gotten things have happened to me in my life. This is how I got on national television, became a talk show host on a show called The Preachers out in California, all because I was getting up early in the morning. God just said, listen, I'm just going to plug you in anywhere I want you in the world. And this is the message. I want people to know God sees you. He knows where you are. But he wants you to come to him. He's like, listen, stop going after all this stuff out here. Come to me and I can put you exactly where you've always wanted to be. But you got to come spend time with listen, you got to spend time with your dad. Listen, I remember this story one time. I heard this. I said, oh my God. There was this father who took all three of his children to the mall, right? And so every year they go shopping. And the father will, go into his wallet and pull out $200 for each one of his children. So the oldest said, hey, I want my cut. I want $200. He got his $200. He walked off and started shopping. The second child said, oh, wait, I want my $200. Can I get mine? The father reached into his pocket, gave him $200. Right when he was about to reach into his wallet again and give the third child the $200, the third child said, look, Dad, I've been away at college. I really miss you. I really haven't had the opportunity. I've been very, very busy. Haven't had the opportunity to talk to you. I really just want to talk to you and just, fellowship with you. The father says, oh, okay. He puts the $200 back in his wallet and they're just walking throughout the mall, having a great time talking, communicating, fellowshipping. And the father says, hey, don't you need some shoes? Said, yeah, but Dad, I just came home so I could spend time with you. He said, son, come on in here and pick out some shoes. They left that store with like 3 or 4 pairs of shoes, right? They went, they're walking, fellowshipping, right? The father says, don't you need some outfits to go with those shoes? He says, yeah, father, come on in here. Let me get you some outfits. They walked out of that store with 5 or 6 outfits. By the time they all met up at the food court, the oldest child, the middle child, they walked up with 1 bag. But the father and the son, both of them were carrying multiple bags. And the oldest child, the middle child said, whoa, wait a minute. What happened here? How come he got all these gifts and we only get? Because you are exposed to more blessings when you spend time with your father. A lot of people, they're trying to do it by themselves. But the prodigal son, he recognized something. Look, man, I'm out here struggling by myself. Everything I need is in my father's house. And that's what I do. Man, I spend time with God. He just tells me, all right, I want you to talk to this God, Rob Z, today. I want you to talk to this person today. He's directing my steps. So I'm exactly where I need to be all the time.
That's so good, Orrick. And it's interesting because I spend time with God every morning, and then throughout the day you can forget, right? Because life starts happening, the day starts happening, and you forget, like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be hanging out with God while I'm doing all this stuff. Like every time I go into something, I should be talking to God and having just a conversation with him, asking for his guidance, just listening, right? And that's the challenge of life, because it's the things we can see with all of our 5 senses are so right in our face, but remembering that God's right there with us at all times. And we're supposed to be keeping that connection, that relationship. We're supposed to be walking through in the mall the whole time, not just right at the start of getting to the mall, getting the money and running away. Go be beside him the entire time. I love that. That's so good because it's such a practical way of looking at it. I'm curious for you. I know you've been on this walk for a long time. How do you build that into your day so you don't forget? Or maybe you don't forget anymore. How, back in the day when this was starting to happen, did you build that into your day? Do you have any examples for that?
Yeah. I remember when I was a personal trainer, this was maybe about back in 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. And I remember the days when I can go all day without thinking about God, not talking to him. And at the end of the day, I'm like, oh man, I forgot to talk to God. But now it's so much easier just to talk to him before my day even starts. Talk to him, even if something something goes off the rails or something is not happening the way, I'm like, whoa, let me stop for a second because this is not going the way. Lord, show me what I'm supposed to be doing so that, because this is how we know that we're not quite in the space where we should be. Stress is the indicator. When you begin to feel stress, you're like, that's when you need to back off. When you've been working on something and it's not quite going the way that you want to go, and it seems like you're trying to force it, that's when stress comes on. And you need to say, whoa, let me back up. Lord, how should I do this? How should I take care of this? And when you come back the next time, it's so much easier because he's going to give you the blueprint of how to conquer any mountain in your way.
That's really good advice. Stress is the indicator for all of that. It's the indicator that you're off track and you got to refocus yourself and you got to ask God for his help. That's a really good, that's actually it's so practical. It's ridiculous because stress, I mean, I'm just going to speak from personal experience. It's like, oh yeah, of course this is stressful. I'm supposed to feel this way. It's almost like I'm supposed to feel stressed, but we're not supposed to feel stressed.
No,
we're supposed to have grace in those situations. That's really good. And that's such a simple way of approaching that. So paying attention to where does that stress start to creep in, and you might miss it initially, but as you start to pay attention to it, you'll notice the smallest signs of stress, or you can lean on him. So real fast, we're going to jump into the sponsor of the show and shout them out for a minute. When we come back, though, I always ask guests to give me great quotes that they live by, and you gave me an amazing one. Unexpected actions always create unscheduled miracles. I want to know what that means, how that applies to your life, how we can apply that to our life. We'll talk about that in 1 minute. Are you struggling to make consistent, valuable content for yourself? Do you want to have an efficient and effective way to create content that attracts the people that you want to connect with in life, the people you want to build relationships with in business? Do you want to be the go-to authority at what you do, at what you're great at? Would it be helpful for you if you had a platform that connects you to incredible people in your industry? The kind of platform that gets you leads and lands you clients without you having to beat down anybody's door or blow up anybody's inbox. Whether you're already creating content or you're desiring to start and it's something that's been kind of burning inside of you for a while, I urge you and encourage you to check out the Pro Podcaster Academy. Get started right now. Join the waitlist at robzwentz.com.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world globally. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line. And of course, grow your circle and your network like never before. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JASCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
This is such a powerful conversation, Orrick. I really value your time and the wisdom you're sharing with us today. And I want to dive into that quote. Unexpected actions always create unscheduled miracles. Talk about what that means to you and how that applies.
Oh, man. That's most definitely one of my favorites because that quote came to me at one of the most detrimental times of my life. Back in 2016, and this is right after I was a co-host on Fox, The Preachers, all of this, only to come back home, fly back home from California, December 9th. Me and my family had a house fire and lost everything. Absolutely everything. And this message is really to the individuals who are struggling financially. That it's amazing how you can be successful in one area of your life, but yet struggle in another area of your life. And here I am. I'm a television co-host, got a little bit of change from that show and, got paid real well. But back home, we were struggling financially with home foreclosure. And the bank was trying to foreclose. Matter of fact, the bank tried to foreclose on us 7 times and could never do it. But before the talk show happened, we were struggling, you know. There were certain things we just could not afford. We couldn't afford the cable. Man, thank God for Redbox back in those days. There was a lot of things we couldn't afford, but the major thing that we could not afford was the insurance policy on the home. So when we had the house fire, we had no insurance on our home. So imagine the depression that you will experience just from knowing how in the world are we going to build our home again? How are we going to get back on our feet? And on a Friday night, December the 9th, we lost everything. And I'll never forget what God said to me that night. He said, Orrick, this will be the fire that kindles the fire. I said, Lord, what does that mean? With tears running down my face, I don't know where we're going to live. I don't know what we're going to do. He said, Orrick, I had to show you a reflection of your faith. This consuming fire of your home is a reflection of how you're going to tackle every single problem in your life. And I said, Lord, you got to help me. And that was the night that the enemy tried his best to get me to commit suicide. He said, Orrick, you're a terrible father. You're a terrible husband. You're a terrible pastor. Why don't you jump off this bridge and do your family a favor? And there was a small, still voice in the back of my mind that said, Orrick, it's not true. You're an awesome father. You're an awesome husband. You're an awesome pastor to your church. Orrick, it's not true. And I walked back up to my home and where the firemen were and all that. That was on that Friday night. But then Sunday morning, what am I supposed to be doing? Well, I'm supposed to be preaching. I'm supposed to be encouraging others and praying for others. Let me tell you something. I didn't feel like praying for nobody. Trust me. I was full-blown depressed. We just lost our home. We don't know how in the world we're going to get back on our feet because we don't have an insurance policy. And God speaks to me and says, Orrick, go preach. I said, what? I said, no, sir, I'm good. Matter of fact, I don't know when I'm going to show back up to church because I am just simply broken. And he said, go preach. My people need a word. I said, your people need a word. I need a word right now. He said, Orrick, go. Listen, I mustered up enough strength. I drove to Walmart, bought a blue button-down shirt, black slacks, and some slip-resistant shoes that I found on the rack. And picked up my family. We were staying at my wife's parents' house temporarily. Thank God for them. And we went to church, and I preached like a madman with tears running down my face. And I'll never forget, I dropped my family off at her parents' house. And I said, baby, I got to take a drive just to clear my head because the high began to come down. I feel depression coming back on me. And I'm driving down the street. And Rob, let me tell you something. God said these most powerful words to me. He said, Orrick, do you think it's possible for you to be faithful to me and I will not be faithful to you? I said, what? He said, answer the question. Do you think you can outdo me being faithful? I'm like, of course not, Lord. What do you mean? He said, all right. I need you to go back to your home that caught on fire. I said, no, I'm good. I don't want to be around it. I'm good. He said, Orrick, you got to. I sent you and your wife a letter and you never opened it. You thought it was junk mail and you never opened it. I said, what letter? He showed it to me in my mind. He said, Orrick, this letter is not junk mail. Go back to your home. I said, but God, it was a house fire. Surely the thing got trampled or burned up or something. He said, Orrick, just go back to your home. Now, I don't know what other people do with junk mail, but we always put junk mail in a stack. And when we put this stack of junk mail was across the room. When I opened my front door, that letter was 5 feet away from me in front of the front door. by itself.
Mm.
Now, who do you think put it there? Listen, when I opened my front door, it scared the daylights out of me. I said, whoa, wait 1 second here. He said, yeah, open it up. I opened up the letter, and this is what it said. Your insurance policy started November 17th. What? What do you mean? I'm baffled right now because I haven't been paying any premiums. I didn't sign up for an insurance policy. And I said, I don't know what this is. I don't have an insurance policy. And God whispers in my ear, you do now. Oh, man. I'm like, wait a minute, God. How in the world are you going to create an insurance policy? He said, I've created everything else. The sun, the moon, the stars. This was actually pretty easy.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, God, what is going on here? He says, Orrick, you cannot be faithful to me, and I will not be faithful to you. This is the thing. He said, Orrick, when you got out of the bed, remember this, unexpected actions always create unscheduled miracles. He said, Orrick, you did the unexpected. It was expected of you to be depressed after losing your home. It was expected of you to not go to church. It was expected of you to give up, but you did the unexpected. You got out of the bed. You did everything that you didn't feel like doing. You ignored your feelings. He said, Orrick, that's what people got to do. You can't go along with what you feel. You got to do the opposite. So unexpected actions always create unscheduled miracles. If I would have not gotten out of that bed Sunday morning, I would have never found the letter. I would have been dead. I would have been just totally consumed with depression and fear and doubt, all these different things, that I would have never went back to my home and found this letter that ultimately liberated me and my family.
Incredible story. And I would love to have heard the message that you preached that day, because I would guarantee you changed some lives in that church also. There's no way that message was not powerful.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing, man. And I love that so much, because that's just, ignore the feelings that you're having and just take action on what you know you need to do. Move forward, take a step, move forward. I mean, that is that's a theme for life in general. Is you might be feeling a certain way, but you know what you're supposed to do. You know what's possible. Take a step, take action. It's everything. That's amazing. That's an incredible story, and just incredible. There's no other word for it. I don't know what else to say about it. That's just phenomenal, man. I absolutely love that story. And I want to jump into something else here. So a life lesson that had a huge impact on you. You had said, never allow your past to have a meeting with your future without your potential being present. Now, when I read that, you sent that to me, I was trying to wrap my head around it. Never allow my past to have a meeting with my future without my potential being present. What the heck does that mean? Break that down. 'Cause I know that's really good, but my mind can't quite wrap its head around it yet.
Oh man, absolutely. So your past represents all of your mistakes, all of your pitfalls, everything that you didn't do right. And your past is constantly trying to have a board meeting with your future. It's trying to convince your future he's never going to change. He's always going to be the same. He's never going to amount to anything. So let's just give up on life. But your potential is your attorney. Your attorney walks in and says, wait a minute, who told you to talk to my client without me being present? And so your potential stands up for you. Your potential speaks on your behalf and says, no, I know he's made these mistakes, but he's going to do better. He's going to come out of this depression. He's going to come out of this rut in his life, and he's going to be totally transformed by the time we get finished. And this is what happened to me when I won the Great American Speakoff. People think that maybe, okay, you just showed up and you just won. No, I got denied 4 times.
Is that Grant Cardone's event, the Great American Speakoff? Okay.
Yes. So Grant Cardone, this is his event, and he has this event, every year. And I tried out season 1, didn't get the golden ticket. The golden ticket is given to, top speakers across the United States. And check this out. Only 130 golden tickets are given out across the whole United States.
Wow.
So 4 times I got denied. The first time I said, oh man, I ain't doing that again. I'm good. Second time I saw the advertisement. I said, well, let me try it again. Denied again. Oh my God. Oh, I'm done. I'm good. Third time, didn't get it. Fourth time, still didn't get the golden ticket. I am done. By this time, I don't even want to see another ad for the Great American Speakoff. But one day I got a phone call from 10X Stages, this individual by the name Jana. She called me and said, hey, we want to see if you'll come to the 10X Stages workshop. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm okay. They said, well, there's a possibility you can earn a golden ticket. I said, well, now you got my attention. And when I tell you, when I got off the phone with this individual, it was like God was speaking through her to encourage me to drive down to Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And that's exactly what I did. I drove 10.5 hours with no golden ticket in hand, with my wife and my 4 kids in the back of the van, believing that I was going to win the entire competition. I even told my church before I left, I said, listen to me. I am not going down here and coming back empty-handed. I'm winning this whole thing. And I drove down there with the belief that, number one, I got to get a golden ticket. That's mission number 1. I got the golden ticket. And then 130 of the top speakers in the United States flew in the very next day. Now the actual competition starts, right? And so I'm telling you, I'm going through each level. And I get to the last door or the last room that you got to audition in. And it's Pete Vargas, right? He's the top guy. He's the guy that's over the whole Speakoff. And I'm talking to him. I give him my speech, and they said, Orrick, we love your speech, but there's still just one thing that, they ask you, how have you made any money with your business and all these different things and a lot of other different questions. And it seemed like they were about to close the door. It seemed like that I was not going to go to the next level, right? And they said, well, we're really looking for people who are kind of here in their business and there and all that. And I left there completely crushed, absolutely just demolished my faith. And I'm like, man, I just drove 10.5 hours to be a part of this competition. And now you're telling me that I'm not going to move to the next level? Man, I was crushed. But this is what I did. I never changed my confession. I never changed my declaration. When I got back to the hotel with my wife and my kids, you know what they asked me? How was everything? Did everything go okay? I said, yeah, everything went well. Everything went good. Even though my heart was broken. See, this is the thing. Sometimes when we face adversity, we change our direction because somebody said something negative, or no, keep saying what you've always said. Listen, this is the reason why when God speaks, he always gives you a word before you go into battle. Why? Because the battle has the opportunity of changing your mindset when you're in the middle of it. So you got to believe what God says at the very beginning before you get into battle. So I told my wife and kids, everything is good. When I went to sleep that night, I had tears in my eyes and I almost left the competition. I almost told my wife and kids, let's pack up, let's go home. I'm ready to get out of here. But God said, nope, sleep it off. Just go to sleep, Orrick. I went to sleep. I woke up, what time? About 3 o'clock in the morning. And I had this enormous headache. I'm like, gosh, my head is hurting so bad. And then God started speaking to me. He says, Orrick, do you remember what Grant Cardone said in the workshop? What was the last thing he said? He said, well, I got a chip on my shoulder and I got something to prove. He said, that's what I want you to start your speech off with. I said, what? He said, Orrick, a man cannot deny his own words. Start your speech with, I got a chip on my shoulder. And he said, you will go to the next level. You will be in the top 30 so that you can give your message to Grant Cardone and his wife. I said, but Lord, they told me that I'm not going to move to the next level. He said, listen to me. You are going to make it to the next level. I got there Thursday. I got there. It's Thursday morning and they called out all 30 names. My name is not called. What do? I'm still clapping for everybody else because I know what I heard what God said. He said, Orrick, don't worry about it. Don't worry. You're going to make it. He called out the 30. Then he says this, but there are some names that just kept coming back up amongst my team. And we want to give them an opportunity to battle it out for 2 more slots. So there are 6 people battling for 2 slots. 3 speakers are going to battle out for 1 spot, and the other 3 speakers are going to battle out for the other spot. They called my name. My name was the second name they called. Man, I ran to that stage, gave them a 1-minute speech, blew the whole crowd away. They said, Orrick, you're in the top 30. Come on, baby. I went before Grant Cardone, gave him my speech. His own wife said, Orrick, you're the only one I gave a 10 on tonight because of your ability to adapt. That went on. I won. I was in the top 5. The top 5 now goes to the 10X Growth Con, the big conference where we're speaking before 5,000 people, right? And I give my speech. I got a chip on my shoulder and I got something to prove. And blew the whole crowd away. Even John Maxwell said this, and I quote, Orrick, that speech was amazing. I think I might start using some of your quotes. I said, come on, man, come on.
That's some high praise right there. Holy cow. That's incredible.
Woo, man. So when I tell you, never allow your past, I could have easily just allowed the fact that I didn't get accepted 4 times. I got rejected 4 times for me to just say, hey, I'm not going to do it ever again. But instead of that, I pushed past that and said, no, let's go get it. Let's go get what I was put on this earth to do and what I was made to do and put in exercise upon this earth. Man, let's go get it. And that's how you got to treat life. You got to treat life like this is your portion. This is your promised land. And you got to go get it. Nobody's going to go get it for you.
I love it. I love it so much. It's so good. It's so powerful. I love that when adversity gets in your way, you can forget the words that you were given. That's so true, because that's what adversity does. It starts to steer your path and redirect you. You got to stay the course. So you got to speak the words that you originally spoke and keep speaking them, no matter how you feel. I think that's the core theme of what you've been saying today is no matter how you feel, doesn't matter. Stay the course, take the action, stick with what you told yourself you were going to do, stick with what God said to you, right? Because that's the word, that's the promise. That's phenomenal, man. I mean,
Stay the course.
I know you've told that story before, and I know it's a powerful story, but hearing it is just, it's so true. And I know when you hear something like that, you know it's true because it makes sense. It logically makes sense. At least to me, it's like, of course, because you're going to get pushed off course. You're going to get distracted. You're going to feel down. You're going to feel like this isn't the right thing. But what other choice do you have? Quit, tuck your tail between your legs and go home, or just double down on, I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, so I'm going to do it anyways. It's so good, man. So good. So as we come to the end of this episode, there's also another whole part of you that we haven't even talked about. That is the music side of you, right? So you have a single out, Kingdom Kid. They can search on YouTube for it. So just search Kingdom Kid Orrick Quick. They're going to find that song on your page. Talk a little bit about the musical side of you, because you've released a lot of music over the years. And what does this song Kingdom Kid mean to you? What does the musical side of you, how does that play into your life and what you do?
Oh man, it's music is my escape, and I've used music to escape my storm. You know, when I think about Joseph in the Bible, people ask, how in the world did this man, survive his storm? He was falsely accused and thrown into prison to rot and die. But yet he's walking around with a smile on his face. And he literally asked the other prisoners, hey, guys, why y'all looking so sad today? And so I'm like, listen, I want to be like that guy. But his power was he knew how to rapture. When I looked up the word rapture, it literally means the carrying of a person to another place or another dimension. Joseph had the power to be carried away in his own dream. He had a dream. God showed him a dream that one day he's going to be a great ruler, that even his own brothers and parents are going to come and bow down before him. He lived in his dream so he could rapture out of reality and live in his dream. And that's what we got to do. And that's what music does for me. It helps me to be able to rapture out of stress, rapture out of worry, get out of the rat race of life and all these different things. And when the song came to me, Kingdom Kid, it's really about a song that teaches us about our dominion, teaching us our power. Listen, we don't have to put up with a lot of stuff that we're putting up with. You are a kingdom kid. You have an inheritance. You have someone that's going to show you not to compete, but to dominate. So that when you walk into a room, don't think less of yourself, or don't belittle yourself. Sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. We will convince our own selves that it won't happen for us. But this song, Kingdom Kid, oh man, you are a kingdom kid and you have dominance over any situation. But I got to mention this. I got a brand new song coming out. And actually in the next week, everything's going to be okay. Listen, when you hear this song right here, it's going to put you in a mode where, listen, everything is going to be all right. Because how many of us have worried days and weeks only to find out that everything worked out the way it was supposed to work out? So we spent all those days and times and just worrying about something that God was going to fix anyway. So listen, I got a brand new song coming out. Everything's going to be okay. Look out for my brand new song, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music. And music is my heart, man. I listen, I love it. And my wife is featured on this track, this brand new track, Ashley Quick. And I'm telling you, it's going to blow you away. You're going to enjoy this song.
Incredible. I love it, man. You're so much fun to talk to. It's we could have this conversation for another 5 hours because every story you tell is incredible. It's wonderful. I can see why John Maxwell said that to you. You're like a walking quote, you know. It's such a cool gift to have. So that's awesome, Orrick. Really loved having you here today. Make sure you find Orrick online. Go to his YouTube page, send him a friend request, subscribe to his channel, get connected. And also, like I said earlier, if you want to be the authority in your space, you want to launch your podcast, I'd love to help you do that. Join our Pro Podcaster Academy at robzwentz.com. As we sign this thing off, Orrick, anything you want to leave the audience with?
Oh man, I tell people all the time, you've got to ignore the opinions that oppose your position. Please hear me. You're going to run into people that are going to try to derail you from your destiny, but you got to know for yourself, this is where I belong. And I'm not going to allow anyone to get me off course. Whatever you do, stay focused, stay dedicated, and finish the job. Get the job done.
Amen. I receive it. It's an incredible message today. Another true testimony of breakthrough from Orrick Quick. Thank you for being here, sir. Until next time.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. This has been the Unstuck Movement.